If your home always feel like it is always a mess, no matter how hard you try, well, this video is going to give you exactly the reason as to why that keeps happening. But I have to be honest with you here. You see, my home, it has always been spotless, even in my hardest seasons. But I was slowly dying on the inside. And it wasn't until I understood what was really happening underneath everything that I stopped surviving my days and started leading my home with intention. Keep watching because in this video, I'm going to share with you what I learned as a homemaker that changed everything. And it had nothing to do with my home. Now, let me start by saying survival mode is not just a mindset. It is also the physical state that our bodies slip into whenever it has been running on empty for far too long. And the tricky part about it is that we do not always realize that we are in it until it is too late or until we start feeling it. All because survival mode doesn't always announce itself in the biggest way. Survival mode will at times show up when the little things are piling up on top of each other or life is falling apart. And let me give you an example of this. I'm not proud of it at all, but snapping on our toddler because he accidentally spilled milk on the dining room table. And if you ever had that same reaction, I want you to know this. That is not a character flaw. If anything, it is just one of the many symptoms of survival mode. And here is what it's actually doing to our body when we find ourselves in it. Our nervous system shifts into high alert. It stops knowing the difference between an actual emergency and a pile of laundry. That is why the body is constantly bracing itself for something that is not coming. Not because danger is real, but because the internal alarm in us have been going off for so long that it can no longer find the off switch. And the moment that I understood that, let me tell you, it changed so much. It is hard for us to find a solution to something that we don't understand. It's just that our nervous system is doing exactly what it was created to do. It just doesn't know when the season has changed. That's all. And this is why we find ourselves in positions where we are pouring out all day, and yet we have absolutely nothing left to give. Sometimes to our spouse, our children, and even ourselves. Or we can be in the home all day and feel like we were absent because mentally and emotionally we were checked out. Now, I have to say this before we move any further, okay? Hear me out. I am not a nervous system expert by any means. I am not a therapist, nor am I a doctor. So do not take my words as the final authority. Now we can move forward. I am just a regular mom who wanted to find out what was going on with her body and her mind. The moment I was able to put a name to it, I was then able to start looking for ways out of it. And another reason why this is so important is because survival mode does not look the same for everyone. We have to understand this. For some of us, it may show up as a messy home, and for others, it may show up as a tidy home. I was one of those moms where survival mode did show up as a spotless and tidy home, all because I was holding on to a standard that I could not keep up with, a standard that was coming not from a place of peace, but from a place of fear. The fear that if I did not take full control over my home, then it would eventually slip away like everything else in my life was slipping away. Because in that moment, in that season, I felt like I had no control over the situations that I was in. It was my way of taking control. And if that is you, I want you to know this. You are not falling apart, but you're not okay either. Right now, you are probably just functioning, and that is understandable. But what I do know is underneath all of that, keeping it together, is a version of you who is desperately in need of rest. And the thing that is keeping you from receiving that rest is perfectionism. Perfectionism can really disguise itself as discipline. At least it did for me. I thought for so long that I was one of the most disciplined people on earth until that same discipline wasn't showing up in other areas of my life. It's like, okay. But, anyways, I ended up finding out the hard way. And a mom who is stuck in that place have absolutely no room left to walk in the calling that God has placed on her life. All right, now that we have learned what survival mode does to our bodies and our home, we need to talk about what is actually driving it, which is the real reason as to why your home feel and look like a mess, no matter how hard you have been trying. And I'm telling you right now, the real reason lives deeper than the physical. So let's get into it. A year into our move to a new state, I remember the weight of everything just came crashing down on me all at once. The loneliness, isolation, and I was doing it all with a system that no longer worked, a system that I built for the previous season. And here is where I felt it first. I felt it in my patience, my mood, and my sense of self. Now, your story might look completely different than mine, and that's okay. But what I do know to be true is that whatever weight you are carrying, I can guarantee you right now that it is consuming so much of your capacity, or probably all of your capacity, that you have absolutely nothing left to give and you are depleting. And that right there is the real reason as to why your home may feel and look like a mess, no matter how hard you have been trying to get it tidy, clean, and organized while caring for children and a spouse. Because whatever you carry consumes capacity. It's not laziness. And many times it's not even a lack of discipline. Well, maybe sometimes. I don't know. But that's the real reason. Capacity consumed by things much bigger than your to-do list. But here's what I want you to know is that God knows exactly that load you are carrying. And He's not asking for you to carry it alone at all. If anything, He is saying, bring it over to me and let me show you how to deal with it. The Word of God said in Psalm 55, verse 22, to cast your burden unto Him. You know why? Because He will sustain you. Yeah. Not only does He care about the load that you're carrying, the silent and quiet load that no one else can see, the mental load, the physical load, but He is saying, I will sustain you. One of the many definitions for the word sustain is to keep you from falling. That's important, right? That's what we're talking about. And to hold you up. He's saying, I will keep you from falling. I will hold you up. Now tell me in the comments before we move forward, what is that one thing you are carrying right now that has nothing to do with your home? I want to hear about it because I want us to stay here for just a little bit longer, since this is the part that many of us usually skip entirely. And the reason why I say this is because many times when we recognize that we are dealing with survival mode, we look for ways in how to manage it. We look for ways in how to survive in it. God is not calling us to function better in survival mode. If anything, He is calling us to come out of it entirely, because His word promises us that He will give us a peace that surpasses all understanding. And this peace will guard our mind and it will guard our heart in Christ Jesus. Now, the peace we are talking about right now is not just a clean and tidy corner of your home, although that can help, but this peace looks like clarity in the midst of chaos. It looks like sound mind in the midst of confusion and double-mindedness. This peace looks like patience when you have absolutely nothing left to give. This peace is also comfort when the weight of your life and everything you are carrying right now is too heavy for you to carry. This peace of God that surpasses all of our understanding, this peace we are talking about is guaranteed to give you back everything that the thief of survival mode has stolen from you. Oh, and by the way, if any of what I'm saying today is lending or it is tugging something in your heart and bringing any type of conviction, then please give this video a like, because it will help other moms like us find this information. All right, now let's get to the practical things. As you are releasing all of that load spiritually, here are 2 practical ways that you can start bringing that same intention into your home. Because truth be told, you may not have chosen the season that you are in right now, but you do have a say in how long you stay reactive in it. Because for many of us, like myself, especially me, okay, when everything is out of control, we tend to do 1 or 2 things. Either we try to fix everything or we just stop and do nothing at all. We freeze. And neither one of them works. Now, the first thing that you can do is to reset one single area in your home. And when I say reset one single area, I don't mean an entire room. I know how you and I get, okay? That's not what I'm talking about. Just one little corner or a drawer, that's it. Because when everything else feels out of control, resetting one little area or one zone in our home is the very thing that can help us to start leading our home again with intention instead of reacting in it. Now, that one reset does not fix everything, but it does stir something in you. Now, the second thing that you can do is to give your day a very loose structure, not a rigid schedule, but just a simple rhythm that you and your children and everyone in your home can follow. Something for the morning, something for the afternoon, and something for the evening. Because every decision that you make when you are running on empty will cost you so much more than you can imagine. That is why building a simple rhythm will take those daily decisions off your plate before your day has a chance to take over. And it doesn't have to be a big old block of time. Just 10 minutes can help. And when you build that simple rhythm, be sure to add yourself into it, because you are part of the many things in your life that needs tending to, if not one of the most important one. So keep that in mind. And while you are building that rhythm, here are 2 things I'm going to give you that will help your body get out of survival mode. Because when you think about it, the spiritual work targets the mind, the rhythm targets your home, but your body needs something too. Now, the first is movement. As simple as that sounds, it is very helpful. It can be you taking a walk around the block with your kids. It can be just, you dancing around, putting some music on. I love to put some worship music on. If you want to go as far as exercising, that's even better. I miss those days where I used to exercise. I would love to get back to exercising. So if that's where you're at right now, please give me some tips on how to incorporate that into my day. Okay? And reason why movement is so important is because it gives the stress in your body somewhere to go. Now, the second thing is what I call transition repetition. That is where you get dressed for the day, even when you are not going anywhere. Now, I know that may sound crazy to some of us, but growing up in a Caribbean Haitian household, we have this thing where every morning, whether we were staying home all day or we were actually going out, we had to take a bath or just clean up ourselves and change out from our sleeping clothes into our what we called regular clothes or your day clothes, even if you're not going anywhere. And you have to do this or else you will get called a salop, also known as dirty. I don't know why, but that's just what they do. But anyways, I grew up with that habit and I have been applying that same habit in my life with my children from the time that they were newborn up until now. And I did not realize how useful that was until I was dealing with survival mode. Because at some point I drift into, yeah, get ready, but you can stay in your pajamas all day because you're staying home all day anyway. So who cares? I would just clean up and clean my kids up, change their clothes, take off their pajamas, but I would stay with my robe on. And I did not realize how bad that was for me. And the reason why changing out of your clothes is so important is because you are telling your nervous system that you are transitioning out of one part of your day to the next. And you are repeating that cycle every single day. Find a rhythm, a way to give your nervous system a signal that things are changing. But if you don't do that, you are telling your nervous system that the day had just been one long day. You have no morning, no afternoon, and no night. Just one long day. And that alone can feel very depressing. Now, we do this not because our appearances matters so much as a stay-at-home mom, but our bodies need repeated signals to function well. If you have ever tried this, please let me know in the comments. And if you think this idea is crazy and something you would never try, I want to hear from you too. It's okay. And to help you build that rhythm I talked about earlier, I have this free home planning template that I will link in the description below. This template gives you a simple daily structure to start from, one that adds you in it, not just everyone else. After watching this video, you may be wondering, what is still in the way after I've learned all of this information about my nervous system and survival mode? Well, I will tell you next week on this channel about the one lie that keeps Christian moms exhausted. So be sure you subscribe to my channel so that you will be notified when the video has been uploaded. All right, I love you with the love of Christ, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.